Hi guys, Jamie McIntyre here, best-selling author of What I Didn't Learn at School But Wish I Had. Those who don't know me, and founder of multiple companies, in particular my passion for the last 2 decades has been creating a modern-day 21st century education system and helping people get an education. I believe we should have all been taught at school but weren't from our outdated 19th century schools. And one question I used to always ask at school is why, when we've been taught trigonometry or algebra, how is this going to help me get what I want in my life? And so that's taught me to go and seek, learn not just from people at theory, because I realize university is great, fantastic, but you're learning from people with PhD in theory. I realized in real life you need to learn from people with PhD in results, and that's what I did. I went and modeled millionaires and eventually billionaires, and I took myself from growing up on a farm, to becoming a self-made millionaire in my late 20s and achieving success in business and many other areas. And so I've been very grateful and very fortunate. But what I ended up becoming very good at, though, was being able to predict trends. And I guess what I want to talk to you today about is that with what's going on with the coronavirus, and I know many of you have businesses that it's just crazy times right now trying to save your business. Like successful businesses are now many days, weeks, months away from going under because of these crazy lockdowns that our government decided to do as good policy. And we won't get into that. We can't necessarily change government policy right now as much as many of us would like to. But what I just want to let you know is that there is help available. So often one thing I learned many years ago, and we're all guilty, it's true, especially guys particularly more than women, and not to be sexist here, but often don't ask for help when they need it. And a sign of success and people that have become successful are people that actually ask for help. I know it can make us, sometimes feel vulnerable, and, that sort of sometimes male ego in particular doesn't want to ask for help, where women seem to be a little bit more inclined to ask for help. Or talk about their problems or issues. But in business, it can be a very lonely pursuit. So I just want to let you know that if you're out there, you have a business or you run an investment firm or, whatever you're doing, is that if I can help you, I'll be more than happy to assist in some way. Through my experience, I've been able to predict many, I was talking about investment trends. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you're an investment firm or hedge fund manager, or just, where you need to know what the hell's going to go on in the world. If you had me on retainer, I let a few of my select clients know, and some of my inner circle, early February. I told them to take positions in the stock market, particularly put options where they can ensure their positions, also profit from a crash that was impending. Now, I didn't know exactly when that crash was going to happen. I told them you might need protection for 30, 60, 90 days because it's going to happen any time in that time frame. 2.5 weeks later, the markets crashed. So I didn't have a crystal ball, but how was I able to predict that was going to happen? Well, there's a whole methodology I use to predict things. Making predictions is, of course, risky, but for some reason I've been very accurate large majority of the time. To give you an example, I predicted the rise of Bitcoin in the early days. One of the first people to write a book on Bitcoin. I was the first person to hold a Bitcoin global conference in Australia. So how was I able to predict that when many of the experts in the financial markets had no idea, didn't see that coming? I was able to predict the bottom of the US property market. Property's been my favorite investment. That's where I tend to invest. But to know that, you still have to know the economy and the stock markets, and I've made money in both. So what I'm suggesting is that in the past, I probably look back as a mistake now in my career. I did a lot of large scale events and speaking a lot, but I didn't make my time available enough one-on-one for many of my clients that would have loved to be able to have me on call or on phone or catch up every quarter and just do brainstorming sessions for several hours. Just keep you focused on what you're doing and work on your goals, etc. Whether you're in business or whether you're in a high income earner or you're in investments or whatever. So I'm now making myself more available. So I'm taking on some new clients. If you're an investment firm, you definitely need me on retainer. It's not even that expensive. It's less than $3,000 US a month. You can have me on call. If you had me on call, you would have made millions of dollars in February and would have saved millions. Some of you would have saved hundreds of millions of dollars. So can you afford not to have someone that seems to be able to predict what's likely to happen? So now with what's happening now with the coronavirus, where it's heading, I can tell you most likely what is going to happen, so you will have time ahead of the rest of the market. It gives you a massive advantage. Now, how do I figure these things out? I can tell you mostly it's common sense. I also grew up on a farm, so I think country people can see through bullshit much better than maybe other folk. We don't buy bullshit so easy. We're certainly trusting, but we don't buy bullshit. Common sense, research, and not getting caught up in the fear and the hype, seeing it for what it is. And also I've also studied certain industries. So with the coronavirus, it gives you a history of things where the top analysts of Goldman Sachs and all those people would never have picked up the things that I picked up because they simply weren't doing study over here on a particular industry, which I had inadvertently by 6 years. So I was able to predict exactly what was going to happen. And within 2 weeks, the market crashing, I was able to tell my coaching clients, etc., that this is what's going to happen. Just like I did continue with the property market. So if you're in property, you want to know what's going to happen with the property market, etc., I can help you with that. Or just have for business. If you're in business right now, I've learned the hard way. I've had dozens of companies. And right now, you probably need some help, just some strategic advice, around how long is this going to go? How long can I last? What do I need to do to survive? And I'll give you a big clue right now. In business, it's all about survival. Cash is everything. You need to just survive. So if you need help, I'm available for that. For those who can't probably afford to have me on retainer on speed dial, the next best thing is 21st Century University. I've put all my educational content with many other speakers with 21st Century University. Hundreds and hundreds of hours. Just my content that's on there, that people used to pay over $15,000 for, and a whole range of programs. One of those programs alone is a $4,000 program on business boot camp, effectively. That's just one of the programs. How much? $59. Go there, 21stcenturyu.com right now. For $59, you can start watching it. It's monthly fee, but you can watch as much as you want, cancel any time, just give 30 days notice. And it's a Netflix of online education. So no binging in your spare time just on Netflix, watching movies. You can now get yourself educated. If you're in business, or you're in sales, or you're in any career you want to do really well, there's so much content there, whether it's on business, whether it's on a peak performance, and whether it's on health, or whether it's on improving your life, whether it's on mindset, psychology. And right now, everyone needs to really work on their psychology. It's tough. I know a lot of people are stressing out there. I've been stressed with all this uncertainty. How can I change my focus? How do I remain grateful? How do we deal with what we do control? Because yes, we can get angry and frustrated at what's going on in the world when people don't see certain things that seem blatantly obvious to the rest of us. But, we can only focus on what we control. And, instead of losing a lot of money through this crisis, I want my clients and my followers to make a lot of money. So if we focus on what we can control, we can actually build new fortunes out of this coronavirus economic shutdown and make the world a better place. Otherwise, we'll be at the mercy of people that have a lot of money that want to set their agenda for you. So anyhow, just letting you know, I'm available for coaching. If you want me on your retainer, or if you can't afford me on your retainer, go to 20stcenturyu.com. We'll do that anyhow for $59 a month. You can access so much education for what people used to pay tens of thousands of dollars for. It's crazy what's available there. You'll love it. Anyhow, I'll talk to you soon.